the rear wing of the pole sitter, Corinthians. This is Antonio Pizzonia, so you get a bit of a chance to see the weather actually not bad up above us. There is a bit of cloud but a bit of blue sky as well. So the track will be drying out, and remember, there is an obligatory pit stop for tyres during this race. Now if they can time it well, the transition, the change from wet tyres to dry tyres, they should be able to get into that pit stop window.
Yes, you have to wait until the track is about 10 to 12 seconds from the best lap times you can do on dry conditions before you change tyres, so you really have to time it well. The earlier the better, but I think looking at the track, it's going to happen still quite late into the window which is allowed.
Yes, and this section, as you said earlier, with the trees all around it, will probably be one of the last areas to dry, so you've got to be careful. I suppose for some guys further down the grid, it might be worth a gamble to change a little earlier than is perhaps ideal, because you can build some heat into the tyre.
Yes, exactly. The earlier, as soon as it's the right moment, the earlier you change the tyres, the better, because you get a little bit more temperature when the track is actually dry, and that you can post good lap times. So yeah, to change before your opponents is always a little bit better.
It's going to be interesting. Strategy is going to play a part in this race, there's no doubt about it. The safety car lights are out, so when the cars come back past the start-finish line, we will be racing here, and the race being led by Corinthians.
Safety car lights are off.
Safety car pulls off, and we're all set for the second race of the day to get underway in wet conditions here at Zolder. The field being led around by Antonio Pizzonia for Corinthians, and as they begin to pick up the pace, he's gone for it straight away. He pulls away. Second place is Hoping Tongue for Atletico Madrid, and everybody else trying to find their way through the spray. That's when it could be difficult. Let's watch them down through the first corner. Michelin, the black and white colours of Michelin, the Danish club that was leading earlier on, trying to make a move already but not able to do anything. And at the back, of course, the guys who were quick in the first race, who finished in the top three, they're coming from the very back of the grid on this complete reverse grid, and some moves going on. Olympiacos on the inside, Davide Rigon getting up the inside, and I think he's managed to get through.
Yes, he made a move on FC Porto, Tristan Gomendi, and you can see lots of fighting. They're being very cautious still because they don't know how much grip they're going to have, but at the minute it's pushing hard, and at the back we see some moves as well. Olympiacos sure made a move on Porto. Michelin and a spin from PSV Eindhoven. Oh, it's a terrible weekend for Dominic Mermans.
It is. That's where he crashed on the outside in qualifying, and now he's spun to the inside this time. Did you see the lead Corinthians had, and just half a lap as well? Pizzonia is really using his experience here and has managed to open up quite a useful advantage in the middle of the pack. Galatasaray, we've got Anderlecht in there as well. There's Liverpool still ahead of Tottenham, and those guys still at the back of the field. They're playing it a little carefully. They know there's plenty of time in this race. It's not worth taking too many gambles in the early stages. Oh, Galatasaray and Porto almost gathering one another, but just keeping clear, and that was pretty clever driving from them.
Yes, they nearly came together. AS Roma trying to make a move on the outside of Michelin defending. Nothing changes.
In the background, big hit in the background. Was that Liverpool? I'm not sure. No, it was Galatasaray. Liverpool coming through safely. It's Flamengo, the other red car. Flamengo and Galatasaray trying to rejoin with no rear wing. The other guys have got through that section, and Rangers into the pits. Now that's interesting. Rangers into the pits from the back. I don't know whether he got involved in some other contact on that lap elsewhere, but that was a dramatic moment into the chicane.
It was, and I'm a little bit worried for Enrique Bernoldi, who is still actually sitting in the car and not moving. It was just not so bad, but the coming back down on track. Oh, he's okay, that's all good. Then he was probably communicating with his team on the radio, but he's okay, that's great.
Can we see what happened? Oh, look at that. Did he lock the brakes or what?
Yes, he braked too late, outbraked himself, had no way to go but to hit the back of the Galatasaray car, and poor Duncan Tapi didn't have a good weekend.
So difficult to judge the braking, isn't it, in these wet conditions when you're out there racing, and there is poor, as you say, Duncan Tapi. Galatasaray, nothing really he could do about that. He just was suddenly hit from behind, and Duncan Tapi is just going to have to look forward to the next event at Donington, a track he's very fast on, to hope that his season really starts to come together. John Martin also in trouble, obviously got in contact with somebody, I would say, on that lap, which we didn't see. There's the race leader. Pizzonia has a big lead over Atletico Madrid, Hoping Tongue. Then it's Sporting Lisbon in third place. Lyon still up there as well, being chased by Olympiacos. Davide Rigon going well in the red and white colours of Greek club Olympiakos. Behind them we've got Midtjylland, the Danish club that went so well earlier. Then it's AS Roma has dropped a few places there. In fact, FC Porto coming through next up. So AS Roma lost a few places, Jonathan Kennard on that lap. And there is the poor, stricken Galatasaray car. End of day, I'm afraid, for those guys. Meanwhile, down towards the back of the field, Liverpool in the battle there has got past AS Roma. Tottenham still at the back, but these guys will now start trying to pick their way through.
Yes, exactly. First thing, you have the spray in front of you when you have all those cars packed together, so you can't see where you're going. Plus, there might be an incident because all those cars being so close to each other, they might touch each other, and that's exactly what we just saw at the last chicane. So they're being cautious, but now they can start to push.
Now, this is PSV. What did he do wrong here?
He just clipped the inside curb and was already on the throttle, but you can't run over the paint from the curb with the throttle on with these big cars, and it's straight away a permission.
So really disappointing day for PSV. Out of the race, Dominic Newmans, but he'll be back to fight another day. Meanwhile, we're on board with Spurs trying to get past AS Roma. This is two English drivers going wheel to wheel, and Tottenham trying to get down the inside into that chicane. Well, Roma did get past there earlier on today by Al Ain, and I think Jonathan Kennard was not about to let it happen again.
No, and I think Craig was very cautious and didn't try to push it too much, too hard, and try not to compromise his complete race, because he's going to find a place to overtake for sure.
Yeah, and encouraged by the fact that Liverpool are not that much further up the road, but he does need to try and find. Look at the dry line already beginning to develop. Yellow flags, he can't overtake in this section. No one is allowed to overtake here because they're still recovering the Flamengo car. As we saw, Enrique Bernoldi walked away from the car. He's fine, but there's no chance to overtake, which is a shame for Dolby in a way, because that is a potential overtaking spot. Bit sideways there from Kennard coming onto the straight, but there's Duncan Tappy. Oh, blow of the cheeks is, might as well just forget this weekend. It's been horrible.
Horrible weekend. He couldn't do anything about that. Was hit from behind. That's things that are happening in the wet, in the rain conditions. It's over for Rangers, I think.
That's surprising, isn't it? We never really knew what happened to him, but obviously damage was done on the first lap. And the man who told us he loved the wet conditions, well, the trouble is, in the wet, when you start at the back, it's very unpredictable as to what's going to happen. And there's poor Enrique Bernoldi wandering down the pit lane. His race is all over as well. So we've lost a Brazilian club there in Flamengo. We've lost PSV, the Dutch club, and we've also lost Rangers and Galatasaray. So 4 clubs out of it already. But look at the lead that Pizzonia's got.
Amazing, nearly 5 seconds, and now you could see some dry line coming up. So nearly 5 seconds, 5 seconds on Atletico Madrid, and Atletico Madrid themselves have 3.5 seconds ahead of Sporting Lisbon. So it's looking good for Pizzonia, but it's very early moments in the race, and the track is drying, so the strategy with the pit stop is going to be very, very important.
Oh, we've got a good battle going on here as Olympiakos moving to the inside, having a think about getting past the Lyon car, Olympique Lyonnais, the French team, new to Superleague Formula this year. And behind them both is Midtjylland, that white, red and black machine that was so fast in the dry. And as this track begins to dry out more and more, particularly perhaps when the tyre changes take place, I still think Casper Anderson is going to be one to watch, because he's got tremendous pace on the dry track. But this is a great little group of cars, and I have to say that Pedro Petit in the green and white Sporting Lisbon car leading the group at the moment. He's doing pretty well.
Yes, he's doing well, but looking at the lap times, those 2 cars in front of Davide Rigon are not lapping very fast. They're about 1 second, 1.5 seconds slower than the leaders, and that means that Davide Rigon is looking already for a place to overtake, and that Midtjylland behind Casper Andersen is going to come back on them and try to overtake them. See, they're pretty slow in the chicane, and Davide Rigon is already trying to find a way past Olympique Lyonnais.
Difficulty is, as you can see, the dry line is a fairly narrow line, and you move off that to try and overtake somebody, and you're then on the wet stuff, so it's really difficult to slow the car down.
Yes, it is, but I think the reason why he's driving on the wet stuff as well is to try to save his tires, basically, because when you're driving on the dry line with wet tires, you're using them very much. You bring the temperatures up and too high, basically.
Oh, problems for Anderlecht as well. Look at that rear wing.
Yeah, no more rear wing for Anderlecht.
Yeah, well, that's another rear wing. So a couple of rear wings have gone this afternoon. That was a problem for Galatasaray when it was taken off by Flamengo, and now rear wing has gone on the Anderlecht car. So that's disappointing for the fans who are here. Here comes Olympiakos. The yellow flag's no longer at the Jackie Yick chicane, so there could be potential overtaking opportunities there. Oh, and a slide that time. So that will give Olympiakos...
He's going to make a move. For sure.
Good opportunity. He's got the run. Now, can he complete the manoeuvre? Yeah, he's in front before they even get there.
Yeah, he got him. I think he probably used the push to pass because he exited the chicane much quicker than